Hi, I'm Sparky, and welcome back to the Nintendo Hub. Now for today's show, we're going to time travel all the way back to 1982, one of the greatest years ever. If you were there, you'll know why it was, and if you weren't, and wondering what you missed, well, just take a look at this. Yeah, back in 1982, there's an absolute classic sitting on our screens. Big screens to small screens. David Hasselhoff, the tall and impressive German there in Knight Rider. William Shatner off his Star Trek fame, turning to TJ Hooker, keeping the streets safe for you and me. There's some great stuff. We all wanted to live forever with the kids of fame. Sylvester Stallone, the action hero of the 1980s. Bypassed a bit by Schwarzenegger later on, but he had a great spell there in First Blood Part 1, and we all loved E.T. Oh, what a classic by Spielberg. But another amazing thing happened back in 1982, which changed my life and the life of thousands of people. The best-selling personal computer of all time launched, the Commodore 64. I spent hours and hours and hours on this amazing little machine. It was groundbreaking at the time. What a classic. We'll cut back to current day. We've got the C64 Mini, which we'll be trying out today. I've only just picked one of these up. I've been looking at it for a little while. It comes with a good selection of Commodore 64 classics, and today we're going to play through a few of those. Literally, this Mini 64 is something I've literally just opened today. The thing is tiny. I'll hold this up for you and see, can you see this in camera here? But I mean, look, it's almost the size of a pen. You see that on camera there? It's tiny. And it comes with the joystick with it, which is a copy of the Kempston, I think 2000, which I used to use back in the day, which used to be very, very solid. One thing I have to say about the package, it's really well packaged. Beautiful little box. And yeah, a lot of attention to detail, really. And then with everything that comes with it, you get your HDMI lead, which I had to replace because it didn't work, which is a bit of annoying. You can run it through like a USB-C cable. I've actually attached it to a battery to keep it going. And the instruction book's a nice little touch because it comes with the official colours and design of the original Commodore 64 manual, which I had a lot of fun playing with back in the day. So basically the machine comes with a lot of the classic Commodore 64 games preloaded, and I believe you can attach this to the internet and maybe download a few new ones, and there's a few updates. Each game comes with some history, the composer who wrote the music, etc., and the genre, the year it was published. So let's look through some of the menus now and see what games come with this system. As I say, it's been out for a little while, but it's something I've always been quite keen to see because I was such a passionate fan of the Commodore 64. But this is a long time ago. This is back in 1982, and sometimes, as you know, nostalgia can be a bit of a haze on when you look back at things, and there's a lot of things I look back on then and I've tried again and I've just moved on, and video games can certainly date very, very quickly. So it'll be interesting to see just what some of these games play like today. But let's flick through what we have here preloaded on the machine without me uploading any more games onto there online. And as I say, I literally just opened this box up today. There's some classics. Avenger, I remember playing this back in the game, like an RPG game. And don't forget this was like an 8-bit machine. Tiny amount of memory and RAM these games had to work with. So, it's incredible, even though it might look really dated now, it's incredible what these games achieved. And also the sound chip on the C64 was pretty impressive at the time, and it banged out some great tunes. We go across here, which is quite cool. You can actually program BASIC on this. You can attach a keyboard with a USB-C keyboard into the little Commodore 64. You can see you might have seen, you can see the keys on this, but you can't actually press them or use them. They're just too small, but you can attach a keyboard into this. So let's just scroll through now and see if any of these games ring a bell to you guys. I'll talk about some of the ones I played with over the years, and which one stood out for me. Battle Valley, don't really remember much about that one. I've just started that by accident, I believe. Okay, well, let's go back to the main menu. Quite cleverly, actually, there's a virtual keyboard here, which you can see on the right hand side. So games that do require you to type in your name or high score and stuff, or more than that, you can actually go into the virtual keyboard, which is quite a nice touch. Or as I say, you could actually attach your own keyboard to it as well. So let's head back out to the main menu and we'll see what other games are available. Boulder Dash. This is sort of reminds me a bit of Spelunky these days, but this was a big game back in the day. Had a lot of fun with that. Breakdance. Breakdance actually back in 1980 was massive. I mean, I remember at our school we had a breakdance club that used to meet up at break time. And I was never great at breakdance club, but it was always really cool to turn up, bring a ghetto blaster and a few tapes. Epics were really, really big with sports games back in 1982 and in the 80s with California games. They did world games, summer games, all sorts of things. But generally, Epics as a label and a publisher back in the 1980s was a sign of quality. Chips Challenge, don't know much about that. Coil Cop, no, don't know too much about that. I mean, I was playing the Commodore 64. Is probably, for a good number of years, is the best Christmas present I can ever remember. Coming downstairs, the Commodore 64 there had a 1541 disk drive, which was quite, plush at the time. And the cassette deck, because all the games used to run off cassette and a few of them off discs. But, these were expensive presents back in the day. The equivalent now of what probably a PS5 is or an Xbox Series X is. They're sort of £400-500 worth of tech, and the disk drives themselves are probably £200-300. Looking through some of these games here. What else we have here? Cybernoid. Sort of remember Cybernoid. I mean, most 64 games have that sort of look. And with the graphics here, they go for sort of bas relief graphics, they used to call it, with a bit of metallic shine on there. A lot of games opted for that. Destroy, I think, was a submarine game back in the day. Everyone's a Wally. This used to be on the Commodore 64, which growing up in the UK was massive. We had the Spectrum as well, which is big. I'm not sure if the Spectrum made it across the waters into the US. Amstrad was quite another big brand for games, but most games ran best on the Commodore 64 pretty much. I think it's fair to say. Groovily Stay Out by Andrew Braybook was a game I played a lot as well back then. Heartland doesn't ring too many bells. I mean, if you've played any of these games, have any thoughts or any favourites, just drop some comments below and let me know what you were playing. Highway Encounter looks a bit like Zaxxon. Hunter's Moon, I remember playing Hunter's Moon. 1987, the Soda Machine had been out a few years there. Hysteria, I don't remember too much about that, but looking at the picture there, looks a little bit like Altered Beast, doesn't it? Back in the day again, games could take you 15 minutes to load on the cassette. So when it was loading, often they had like a loading music, or like the graphics here, they had a couple of screens, just to keep you entertained and occupied when you're waiting for it to load. And often you could wait 20 minutes for a game to load and it would stop right at the last second. Impossible Mission, again, Epics. Epics are awesome with their animation back in the day, and this was cutting edge stuff. And it's really hard now to appreciate how advanced some of these games were. Looking at them now, they might look a bit rough and ready, but back in 1982, they couldn't compete with the arcade stuff really, but to be able to play this standard game at home was pretty impressive. Just have a quick look. Sorry, I've missed a couple there. There's Mission Impossible 2, which comes here as well. I hadn't actually played Mission Impossible 2, but I loved that Mission Impossible 1. We've got 10. IO, sorry, not 10. IO, I remember playing that as well. Jumpman, which obviously you think about Mario when you think of Jumpman with platforms and ladders there, and Jumpman 2. Don't remember playing Jumpman back in the day. Mega Apocalypse, quite a good range back in the day of vertical and horizontal shoot 'em ups on the system. Lots of those to play if you're into those sort of games. Monty on the Run, I remember playing this and loving this, and this had amazing music by Rob Hubbard, who was one of the elite composers on the Commodore 64, and absolutely drained every ounce of juice from the sound chips of this machine. Netherworld, I sort of remember that, don't remember playing it too well. Nobby the Aardvark, what can you say, Nobby the Aardvark. Nose of Yezod, I mean, I remember playing this quite a bit, but just look at the box art there on the bottom right there. I mean, these games back then, often the artwork on the boxes just got you in the mood to play the game and painted the picture in your mind of what it might look like. Even though the graphics was quite simple, it just felt like a stylish space exploration game. Parajoy by Andrew Braybook here was an absolute classic. It came out on lots of versions, on lots of machines, the Amigas. I think there's versions on, even the versions like the Xbox 360. They did versions for phones, but at the time it was a fantastic game. Pit Stop 2, really taking inspiration here from some of the the racing games in the arcades back in the time. Good game though, because you used to play that and you were split screen at the time, which is amazing for what the computer could do. And your tires used to change color. You used to think it go to red or blue, and then you had to change in the pit stop. So quite a simple game, but the fact it was split screen and there's a bit of strategy, it was welcome. Ranamara, I don't know too much about Ranamara. I'm going to jump into a couple of these games as well, just to show you what they look like. Robin of the Wood was a game I played a lot. And again, you know, when I was younger, I used to watch the Robin of Sherwood TV series, and then you watch Robin, you're playing this game, it all sort of ties together nicely. You just love the whole experience. I remember really, really liking this game, but getting lost in the woods a bit. And again, Robin there pulling his bow back. Those graphics were pretty amazing at the time. Let's quickly see what else is on here. Silicon Warrior, travel to the year 2084. Interesting. Don't remember that one particularly well. Skate Crazy. I do remember Skate Crazy. Was that based on the arcade machine? What's the arcade Atari escape game? I think it had a trackball. Looks like that might be a copy of it there. School Days was quite a big game back in the day. It used to be pretty popular on the ZX Spectrum as well. Snare, I don't know too much about. Speedball. I mean, I used to love Speedball, but I didn't play it on the Commodore 64. I was playing Speedball on the Amiga, which was just unbelievable. And it looks like they've done a pretty decent job there of bringing this to Commodore 64, but I don't ever remember playing it on the Commodore 64. It must be one of the really late years. Yeah, there you go, 1989. So the machine had been out 7 years and was probably at the end of its life cycle. I mean, very interesting. I think over in the UK and in Europe, at the time, personal computers like the Commodore 64 were the things to play on, where in America, most people had consoles. We didn't really get into consoles in the UK really till maybe sort of the PlayStation hit the market maybe, or the Sega Mega Drive, but a lot of people were gaming on computers. Speedball 2, again, played this a lot on the Amiga. It's a great game, great sound effects, amazing graphics. Did notice on the Commodore 64, so it'd be quite interesting to see how that plays. Spin Dizzy, which looks like a little couple of a copy of Marble of Madness you guys might have played back in the day, which was an amazing arcade game with a huge roller ball in the middle. Lots of sports games, speak of. Epix again had their names on lots of sports games. Street Sports Baseball. Look, we got Street Sports Basketball once again by Epix Games. Most sports were covered here. Street Sports Soccer as well. Interesting graphics on that one. We've got Summer Games. Now these again were by Epix. And a bit like the Prince of Persia type graphics, the animation on all the characters here at the time was like, wow, how do they do that? All the games were made with very, very high standard, and there were local multiplayer as well. I mean, obviously at the time there was no online multiplayer. Super Cycle, looking at the picture, name the arcade game, Super Hang On. I think it's a copy of Super Hang On, which I used to love playing in the arcades, on the actual big bike itself, and you had to swing it left to right. Super Cycle wasn't a bad version of that, considering again the limitations, of the hardware that we're playing these on. Going across, we have Sword of Fargol. Don't know much about that. Looks a bit of Zelda 2 from there. Yeah, that looks a bit like Gauntlet, Temple of Ashvaraj trilogy. Don't know much about that. We've already seen this, haven't we? The Ark of Yesod, unless that's another version. Cool. Hall of Fame. Thing on a Spring, or I remember Thing on a Spring having amazing graphics. I think it's made by amazing music. Sorry, I think it's made by Gremlin Graphics. But maybe back in the days, then you're more easily impressed. Tower Toppler rings a bell. Might have a look at this one. And again, it's so, and Trailblazer at the time I think was pretty big. It's very difficult now sometimes to jump back into games like these and be impressed, because the controls are sluggish. Obviously they're very limited in how they might look and play, but I mean, they really squeezed the hardware at the time. But looking back, we're talking 1982, we're talking 40 years ago. Things obviously have aged. And when you might have just jumped off your Switch or your Series X, your PS5, you jump into something like this, is like, oh my God, we've just gone back in time 200 years. But yeah, at the time, these things were making waves, and they played their part, I think, in terms of where we are today with games. Each of these games had influences on programmers and developers who went on to take the ideas further and further in those games. And, it's just like a snowball effect to get to where we are today. Uridium Braybrook, was an absolute legend on the C64, pushing what you could do with graphics. I think he sort of developed the bas relief graphic style. And some of his shooters, we mentioned Parajoy, but Iridium was a massive game. I played that loads in the day. Sort of remember West Bank. Who Dares Wins 2. This was like Commando in the arcade. Not Commando in the arcades. Was it Commando in the arcades? There was a Commando game. Whether it was just on consoles or in the arcades as well, I don't remember. But Who Dares Wins 2 was just a straight rip of that. But it was good though. Winter Games, again by Epic, pushing the capabilities of the Commodore 64 all the way, and there's some cracking games. Yeah, I mean, just looking at that, I remember doing the jumps and landing and doing the bobsleigh, and it was great fun. I mean, at the time, again, it's just amazing. And World Games as well. I mean, the animation on those characters for the time was fantastic. That was like a roller game. There's weightlifting, clean jerk and snatch, whatever. It's all great stuff. Sort of remember that. But listen, there's Alley Cat and Anarchy, and I think we're almost back to where we started. So let's just jump into a couple of quick games and see what we think. I mean, Commodore 64 was the biggest selling home computer at the time, and probably still is actually, in terms of home computers. I mean, they've changed back in the day. I mean, because obviously when you had these computers, you had to, you could learn to program them and do code and stuff. And these days, people just lock in a cartridge or a disk, and there's nothing else involved. So these computers at the time developed people to encourage people to start producing their own games and learn how to create sprites and learn how to create music and learn how to do text adventures. And I remember writing a few text adventures. I mean, we used to, and the other thing that they used to have back then, I mean, this is more of a discussion now about gaming in the 1980s, was you used to get like computer magazines each week, and in there might be a 15-page game with the code printed out over 15 pages, and you literally had to type it all in to get the game to work. And the games you were typing in the code for were the most rudimentary, I mean, the most basic games you'll ever imagine. And half the time, there might have been an error, a printing mistake in the magazine, and they never worked. But you still sat there and typed in every single line. And these are really complicated codes as well. They had no idea what they meant when you were typing them. And but it's just something that you did. Back then, it's something that you did. But it was really nice to have a machine. I would like the Amigas afterwards that followed, and people had Atari STs and stuff, where you encouraged you to program and learn how to use the machine. And that is something that we've lost, obviously, which is a bit of a shame. Anyway, let's jump into a couple of things I remember enjoying in the time and seeing how they look today. So first up, let's have a look at, I fancy a quick game of Speedball, actually. Where is that? So I'm clicking across here. Joysticks feels pretty solid, actually. I had the Kempston, which is the best joystick you can have, because you gave these joysticks a lot of damage back in the day. And they basically just have 2 fire buttons, but it lasted, I still went through a few of them, but it lasted longer than some other ones. There's Gribby Stay Out. Let's make our way across Hunter's Moon. Okay, it was just here, wasn't it? Let me just quickly check out the animation of Mission Impossible, Impossible Mission, sorry. Because I remember this looking absolutely amazing. And there's a great line at the start of the game where it said, welcome, stay wild, stay forever, or something like that. Let's see if it still does that. Okay, let's go into the game sound here. Okay, that's the lift. You see, this in the day was, whoa, this is like, how can games ever get more realistic than this? Amazing. Just check with you. I think he just jumps. Yeah, look at the somersault. Nice. Okay, you had these rooms. Oh. I've already been electrocuted. I think there's lifts here. There we go. Oh, jeez. Oh yeah, I have to press it twice. And I think you used to have to access these computers and look for things, and there's some puzzle solving as well. And the whole time avoiding the creepy black ball. Oh, I found something. Nothing here. Ah, you have to search them individually. Nothing here. Okay. Can I push him down? I'm actually blocking the screen a bit there, but can I? Is there a way out here? No. That's me falling to my death. And I mean, the synthesized sound effects there were something like, again, they're mind-blowing because no one was doing that. Oh. No. Let's jump into another one. Let me jump into this Jumpman. Let's have a look at Mega Apocalypse. Don't remember this one. Always enjoyed it good. I thought my reaction speed was always quite good for these games. There's your typical Commodore 64 homepage screen. Oh, there's a voice as well here. Oh. Well, they've got synthesized speech, which is... Oh, so is it... Let me just turn that in the background audio a bit. I'm not quite sure if I'm supposed to pick this thing up or I'm supposed to actually shoot it. Okay. Yeah, okay. I think I've seen enough of that game. I don't think I'm going to be rushing back to that one anytime soon. Now, once you're on a run, I remember this having great music. So let's see if it can let's see if it's as good as I remember. Let me just turn it up for a second. There we go. I'm just waiting for it to kick in. Now that's pretty catchy, isn't it? Okay, let's see what Monty can do. That's a good tune. I mean, Monty's got a really sweet animation, hasn't he? I don't know how many frames are in that animation, about 8, but that's pretty cool. Okay, oh, you got to push pretty hard on the joystick for him to move. Go on, Monty. Actually, I'm really leaning into this to get Monty to move. Come on, Monty, we're on Maple Street here. There was Off-Wiedersehen Pet as well, Off-Wiedersehen Monty or something as well, which is really good. But this was, I love this back in the day. It must look so random to people these days, seeing these random sprites. Okay. I'm not sure. Can Monty go in the water? Let's see if Monty go in the water. No. Instant death for Monty the Mole. Come on. Come on, you gonna go? Oh. There we go. Oh. Oh, it's moved. You've really got to press so hard to get him to move. Anyway, it was great to see Monty the Mole again. I mean, would I go back and play it? I don't know. It was nice to see him though. Let me go and check it. Where are they? I want to see. Let's have a look at Pit Stop 2. I think I broke a couple of joysticks playing Pit Stop 2 with my brother back in the day. We're in Brands Hatch, Birmingham, England. Number laps 3. I'm a rookie. Start the race. Oh, here we go. I'll go start the race. Driver, please type. I have typed your name in here. So I think you have to go into the virtual keyboard. And I'm just going to put, that's what I used to put. Oh, not F2. I used to put in Mac. And that used to be it. Because generally you used to get like 3 letters, didn't you? Okay, so can I say that's good? How do I say it? I'm happy with Mac. Oh, yes. Press your button. I press my button. Alright, I want to get off the keyboard now. There we go. That's it. I'm thinking about the game as pole position. Oh, I'm on the right, look. Is that me? Yeah. Do I change? I think I press. Is it automatic gears? Am I? Yeah, I mean, it's like sliding from one side to the other. But again, this was pretty good back in 1980, the 1980s. This was a you know, wasn't miles behind pole position in the arcades really. I think Outrun was the first game that brought in slopes. I mean, the undulations in the road. The first game I can remember was Outrun. Before that, everything was just flat. The arcade games back then were probably Outrun, if you remember that. And a game I preferred a bit more than Outrun was Chase HQ, which I played quite a bit as well. I thought Chase HQ was a great game. Okay, let's have a look at another game before we go. Let's check out Robin of the Wood quickly. 1985. The Hooded Man. There I am. Am I kneeling down? Yeah, I'm kneeling down. So when you don't walk, you kneel down. Oh, there's a mole. Oh. Okay, there's one of... And I've got my stick, look. Let's see if I can get this guy with the stick. Yes! You can see how easily you can get lost, and that's why you used to have to draw maps about where you used to have to draw maps. Oh, hang on. I'm in prison. Oh. Oh my god, you could get so lost. This was brilliant though when it came out. Oh, do I need the key? Look at all my hearts I've got at the bottom. I've got loads of hearts, by the way. It must take me a while to die, doesn't it? Let's see if how many hearts. Yeah. Each time I get hit there, it takes a couple away. He hasn't seen me there. Look. Early sprite collision. Look. Okay, a bit of Robin Hood. Let's have a look at Speedball. Bitmap Brothers Amiga. This is like up there with one of my favorite games. But they've recreated the look of it here as well as they can do. I mean, this was so good at the time. Okay, so all the options here. Look. League stuff, 2-player games. I imagine 2 players on this would be brilliant on the 64, but I don't know if I just don't remember this in 1987. Was I still using it in 1987? I don't remember. I probably had the Amiga, I had the Commodore 128 after the 64. Then I went to the Commodore Amiga 500. Was it Amiga 5000 or 1500? Anyway, I stayed with Commodore for quite a long time. Let's jump in and have a look. Player select the different teams. Let's go for the guy in the middle. That guy on the left looks very, very cool, doesn't he? There's a film called Rollerball, which came out probably 70s, which is this sort of based on a little bit a futuristic sports game set in an arena with the metal balls bouncing off the walls. Okay, I'm the green guy. I'm facing the red team, but how do I control the player? Because when you don't have the ball, the best way to tackle is just to smash people into walls and things. It's quite a violent game. Let's see, can I score a couple of goals? I can't. There we go. Let's throw it against the walls like that. Oh, I missed. How did he miss? Yes. Visually, I don't think they could have done much more with this on the Commodore 64. Yeah, clearly it was a lot better looking on the Amiga later on, but yeah. Yeah, they jump there. You can see the animation of them jumping in the air and the ball goes over their head. And there's supposed to be domes in the middle there. You can bounce it off as well. Let's see, can I go and bounce it off a dome? If I get the ball. Oh, I'm not quite sure how to switch players to defend. Here we go. It's really hard work with this joystick. I'm sort of pushing it really hard to get it to do what I want. Oh, I can't switch players. Oh. If I knew how to switch players, it'd be okay, but I'm really struggling to get to. Yeah, let's one we're here. Look, let's look at maybe one more before we call it a day. This is a great era for gaming. I mean, let's try Spin Dizzy actually when I'm here as well. Time hasn't been too kind to my old friends. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, can you actually fall off the edge here? Oh my god, this will be a nightmare. Jeez, how are you supposed to accelerate? Oh. Okay, I'm gonna try to get up a little bit of momentum here. Ready? Go. Oh. Oh. Okay, one more go. Go. No. Okay, see you later. Actually, I think Gauntlet came out in the Commodore 64, which I used to really like. Let's have a look at this. The animation looks quite good on this one. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed looking back at 1982. Let me know if you had a Commodore 64. Let me know if you've picked up the Commodore 64 Mini. Okay, I'm gonna go joystick, please. Yep. How do I start this one? 1 keyboard, 2 joystick. Not really letting me do anything. So let me jump out and have one more game because I haven't got the patience to try to get that into that one. What else have we got? Thing on the Spring. I used to love the music to that. Yeah, Iridium used to be a good game. I mean, this used to be a really good game. Again, I'm not sure how well this has held up. Let's check out some of that music for the day. I'd love to know how many hours I put back into this game. Let's have a look. That sound effect brings it all back. We used to flip around. It's a bit like... Oh, jeez. It's a bit like Defender, but you don't see a map. You can crash into the ship. You see, that's scrolling. That's scrolling for the 80s. Oh, what was it? You have to memorize them. You have to memorize the ship, but the scrolling was just amazing at the time. Look. Okay. All right, I'm firing. So you can spin like that. It's quite pretty good controls. But you just can't see what's coming. You don't get a lot of notice. Okay. Oh, I used to fly. Each level has a different ship used to fly over. Let me have one more go at this. Okay, that's better. Oh. It'd be nice if they had that Defender map. Defender again, Defender was one of my favourite shoot 'em ups of all time. It moves pretty quick, eh? Oh. Let's use up this last life. Let me see how I fly to the end of the ship. And then you crash into a... There you have to go up here, don't you? Yep. Oh. Oh. Well, there you go, guys. Thank you very much for watching, going back in time with me to the... I'm gonna finish off actually by playing a bit of Who Dares Wins 2 as I sign out here because I used to play this a bit as well. Dun, 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 dun. This used to be pretty popular actually at the time. Oh. Like, another guy. I think you keep the fire button there for a grenade. Yeah. Let's see, can I get up a couple of the screens? Look. Oh, look. What's this? Oh. The only thing about these games is you can only shoot at a certain angle, like on the diagonal, which makes it quite difficult. Come on. That's as fast as he goes. It's hard to get people. Yes. Come on. Oh. Through the middle. Come on. Yes. Oh. Right. That's it. Thanks for watching. Drop some comments below. Tell me what you played back in the day. Tell me if you've got the C64 Mini. Tell me how often you use it. I'm not quite sure how often I'll be getting this out when I can be catching up with other games on my other systems. But it's nice to jump back, get a bit nostalgic and see what I used to play. And I'm sure there's a couple on here that you'd probably play a bit more if you got into it and you learned the controls. But I don't know. I don't think it's translated too well to 2024. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch up with you again soon.